Near Toretsk in Donetsk Oblast, an armored group of Russian invaders managed to break through the Ukrainian defense, after which it entered the operational space. However, after some time, this unit of the Russian armed forces was eliminated by the Ukrainian defense forces using unmanned aerial vehicles. The Ukrainian Armed Forces Telegram channel, Live from the Front, reports. The geolocation of the area where Russian equipment was hit by Ukrainian drone operators was determined by GeoInt researcher Ordax. It is reported that a column of Russian armed forces occupiers broke through to the west from Toretsk, penetrating 6 kilometers into the Ukrainian rear, reaching Pleshcheyevka. However, Ukrainian fighters were able to quickly eliminate this enemy breakthrough by intercepting the Russian armored group with the help of attack UAVs. By the way, one of the photographs shows a Russian armored vehicle S-STS Akhmat destroyed by Ukrainian soldiers. Also, video material appeared on the internet confirming the defeat of the Russians who broke through near Toretsk. Russian forces are pursuing 3 distinct tactical objectives in the Pokrovsk direction, according to a statement by Ukrainian military officials. Ukraine's Khortytsia group of forces spokesperson Major Viktor Trehubov said that Russian forces aim to cut the T-0504 Pokrovsk-Kostyantynivka highway northeast of Pokrovsk, bypass Pokrovsk from the west, and attack in the Novopavlivka direction southwest of Pokrovsk. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reported that Russian forces have achieved limited gains northeast of Pokrovsk toward the strategic T-0504 highway and southwest of Pokrovsk towards Novopavlivka. However, Ukrainian drone operations and localized counterattacks have complicated Russian advances immediately south and southwest of Pokrovsk. Russian advances northeast of Pokrovsk support both the ongoing Russian efforts to envelop Pokrovsk from the east and west and the effort to pressure Kostyantynivka from the south, according to the ISW. Military analysts said that Russian forces have redeployed significant units to the area in early 2025. Ukrainian and Russian sources confirmed that elements of the Russian 5th Motorized Rifle Brigade were moved near Vozdvizenka east of Pokrovsk in January, followed by elements of the 20th Motorized Rifle Division in February. Despite these reinforcements, Russian units have made only marginal gains. Forces previously operating in the Vozdvizenka and Toretsk areas reportedly culminated as fresh divisions arrived, forcing the Russian military command to prematurely commit these new units to maintain operational tempo. The Russian Tu-22M3 bomber, which was described in the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, could have been destroyed by the defense forces at Dyagilevo military base in Ryazan or at the Shaikovka military airfield. Aviation expert Valery Romanenko said this on Radio NV. Oleksandr Syrsky said that Ukrainian forces successfully struck a Russian Tu-22M3 bomber with a drone several days ago. A few days ago, our successful actions destroyed a Tu-22M3 long-range bomber. It had just landed when our drone hit it. The cost is about $100 million, Syrsky said. In particular, Valery Romanenko said that the 52nd Heavy Bomber Aviation Regiment of the Russian Federation was relocated from Shaikovka to Mozdok. This is approximately 15 to 16 heavy bombers Tu-22M3, and the enemy uses these aircraft in strikes on Ukraine. As Romanenko noted, Mozdok is a considerable distance, approximately 700 to 800 kilometers from Ukraine, even in a straight line. In his opinion, the plane that Syrsky spoke about could have been hit by the Ukrainian armed forces at the Dyagilevo military base, which is located in Ryazan, or at the Tchaikovka military airfield, which is in the Kaluga region of the Russian Federation. Most likely, they all flew from Tchaikovka because it is too close, about 300 kilometers from our territory. And in Diaghilevo, there is a repair facility where these planes are repaired. Perhaps one of the planes flew there for repair, for maintenance, and they took it out there, because in general, in the Russian Federation, are few such airfields where these planes are based. The choice is small: Mozdok, Diaghilevo and Tchaikovka, and we cannot reach the Olenia airfield, unfortunately, the expert said. He added that according to Russian and international sources, as of early 2022, the Russian Federation had about 60 such bombers registered. In total, these are 2 regiments, one of which was based in Tchaikovka. According to the expert, 2 aircraft were destroyed, 2 were crashed by the Russians themselves, and another was damaged. And as of now, about 10% of the fleet is out of action. According to Romanenko, these planes are already living out their days. They are outdated. The Russians themselves say that with every technical accident in the air, at least 1 crew member dies. Recently, there have been 2 disasters, and in both cases, 1 pilot died. Even the emergency escape system does not work properly. He added that other Tu-22M3 components are also problematic, in particular the variable geometry wing. According to Romanenko, these bombers will not be modernized because there is no point in doing so. The Tu-22M3 is a supersonic, long-range strategic bomber with variable sweep wings. It was developed by the Tupolev Design Bureau in the 1960s and manufactured between 1978 and 1993.
The Ukrainian soldiers emerged from the ruined house at gunpoint, one with arms raised in surrender to the Russian troops, and lay face down in the grass. 2 drones, 1 Ukrainian and 1 Russian, recorded the scene from high above the southern Ukrainian village of Piaty-Katki. The Associated Press managed to get both videos. They offer very different versions of what happened next. The Ukrainian drone video, which AP obtained from European military officials, shows soldiers with Russian uniform markings raising their weapons and shooting each of the 4 Ukrainians in the back with such ferocity that 1 man was left without a head. The footage of the Russian soldiers opening fire on the unarmed Ukrainian soldiers has been blurred by the Associated Press due to the graphic nature of the images. Out of all the executions that we've seen since late 2023, it's one of the clearest cases, said Rollo Collins of the Center for Information Resilience, a London group that specializes in visual investigations, and reviewed the video at AP's request. This is not a typical combat killing. This is an illegal action. The Russian drone video, which Associated Press located on pro-Kremlin social media, cuts off abruptly with the men lying on the ground alive. As a result of the work done by our guys, the enemy decided not to be killed and came out with their hands up, wrote a Russian military blogger who posted the video. 2 videos. 2 stories. In one, the prisoners appear to live. In the other, they die. As evidence of potential war crimes in Ukraine continues to mount, many in Ukraine worry that the Trump administration's about-face on the war will make it more difficult to establish a firm historical narrative about what has happened since Russia's 2022 invasion and whether those most responsible for atrocities will ever be held accountable. On March 13, the day European officials say the incident in Piaty-Katki took place, U.S. representatives landed in Russia for ceasefire talks with President Vladimir Putin.
So there's 2 groups of people. There's the Russians and the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have been taken out of the building. They're lined up outside the building. They're briefly searched by several of the Russians. These Russians then wait for further 2 more Russian soldiers to join them, at which point